I was raped for 4 years of my life, violently, more times than I can count. And I did get pregnant when I was 15. My rapist threatened me with abortion multiple times. Used that as a tool to keep me in his power. If he had the power to terminate evidence, he had power against me. I did end up losing her, but I wanted her very badly. I named her Rachel, which is Rachel in English. And I think it's very important to humanize people who are conceived in rape because they're walking around right now.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and I think it's very insulting to place that on a human being. I think that humans, no matter how they are conceived, are human beings, and they deserve to be respected, and their lives deserve to be respected.
And I agree because that's me. I agree 100%. And my mom has always told me she doesn't view me as even on my birth certificate, he's not my father. So.
Also, I want to tap on what you said, though, because you said you really wanted to keep your daughter. And although you don't, see it as the rape baby and stuff, other people who also go through that traumatic experience may actually see it like that, right? You wanted that, but there's other people that had their a choice taken away from them. They shouldn't be shamed at going through this, and even having to live through that experience of the rape baby.
Here's the thing. When you get an abortion as a reaction to rape, you are continuing the cycle of violence. So you were raped, that was a violent experience that happened to you, that wasn't your fault, you're hurt, you've been victimized. Why is it fair to further victimize someone else because you are hurt? When I was 15, I got pregnant from sexual assault after being abused for about 4 years. And it was a very difficult, harrowing experience. It was very traumatic, and as I was going through that experience and feeling those emotions and feeling my trauma, I had a lot of conflicting feelings about pregnancy, especially a pregnancy from sexual assault. It was very hard, and I was considering, like, what am I going to do about this? Is he going to hurt me if I am pregnant? Because he'd already said things like that before. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do for a while. But then as I started seeing women with their children, I started seeing cards from the local crisis pregnancy center, billboards. I started to realize that, maybe I can do this, maybe I can have this baby. And I started to gain hope just from the knowledge that I was growing a human being, and I was doing that independently. And it felt very powerful to know that I was creating life. And especially as someone who was being abused, it was really important to me to feel that power. And so I finally decided I was going to keep my baby. I could feel her living inside of me. I didn't know anything about abortion, but I knew that I didn't want to take the life of something that was innocent. I did end up eventually losing my daughter. Her name was Rachel. I had a miscarriage, and it was absolutely devastating to me. I think about her every day, and I know a lot of people say that when a woman's gotten pregnant from sexual assault, the best thing for her would be to abort that baby, for that baby to no longer exist, because it existing is just traumatic in and of itself. And I, through my experiences, would completely disagree. I think that losing my daughter was the traumatic thing in that instance. I think my rape was traumatic. I think my circumstances were, but my daughter was in no way traumatic to me just by virtue of her existence. And I wish I could have given birth to her, and I wish that for all children who are conceived from assault or who are conceived consensually, because I don't think that we should take the lives of people who exist in inconvenient circumstances.
So, I'm Ayala. I am 19 years old. I am a college student at a local community college in North Carolina. I was born and raised just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've been a passionate pro-life activist for the last couple years. It's been the most important thing in my life thus far, and I'm looking to pursue a career within politics so I can continue advocating for the preborn.
Why would you say that you are pro-life? Like, what is it that made you want to be pro-life?
I would say that mostly it was my experiences of conceiving my child from sexual assault and having to reckon with the reality of the humanity of the preborn, which is something we don't, as a society, often have to think about.
Yeah.
Right. So when I conceive my daughter. It was after 4 years of being horrifically abused. I was raped more times than I can count, and I was 15 years old when I got pregnant. So I understand the situation very, like, closely. The one that they're describing of a young girl who gets pregnant from an abusive situation. I know what they're talking about, and I find it pretty insulting, honestly, to use women like me and our children as political fodder for their narrative, and it's mostly for economic gain for the abortion industry. I find it insulting because I think it's speaking over women like me and our children, the dignity and humanity of our children. I think that, especially when I talk about my experiences, I've found that they care very little about what women who have been through these situations actually feel about what happened to us. A lot of us do feel that our children were human beings and deserving of dignity. I've been shouted down so many times by women and men who have not experienced pregnancy or rape or sexual assault, none of the things I had to experience. But because I have the wrong narrative, I have the wrong opinion about what happened to me, that's an unacceptable opinion. So they don't really care that much about us as people. They care about using our narrative to push their narrative, and that's pretty insulting.
Yeah.
When I was outside of the Supreme Court after they just overturned Roe v. Wade, I was having a conversation with a young woman, and the first thing she brought up, and I find this very funny, like every time I talk to a pro-abortion person, the first thing they talk about is women who get pregnant from rape. And it is very funny to me because I can immediately say what I'm going to say. So I tell this girl, well, I got pregnant from rape when I was 15, and I loved my baby, and I felt she was deserving of life. And she completely changed her demeanor, and she said, "You're disgusting. That's disgusting." Wow. And I honestly, people have said some very nasty things to me before, but seeing in real time on someone's face, someone seeing my child and my love for my child as something disgusting because of my rape, as if any of that was my fault or my child's fault, as if that somehow rubbed off on us and we became dirty from that, it was heartbreaking, honestly. And I think that that's the way a lot of these people feel about women like me. And I think that it is proof that a lot of the women they put out and a lot of the narratives they put out about sexual assault and abortion, it is incredibly performative, and it's incredibly pandering, and it's not honest in any way, shape, or form because of the way they treat women like me who are pro-life and who did conceive that way. Yeah.
For somebody who may not have experienced sexual assault, how would you suggest that they argue this point when it's given to them by somebody who's pro-abortion?
Right. I would honestly just ask them, like, what do you think abortion does for rape victims? What do you think it does for them? Because a lot of people haven't really, I guess, thought this out that much, but they kind of subconsciously assume that once you take away the rape baby, which is a term that I don't appreciate, from the situation, that suddenly that makes the situation better. Like, no, you have rape trauma. That's going to be there for as long as it was going to be there if there wasn't a baby. Like, that needs to be dealt with therapy. That needs to be dealt with in a mental health setting. The abortion has nothing to do with healing from the rape, like, at all. So I guess that is the best argument that I have against it. I can't see any way in which it is healing or progress in any way for that woman, that survivor like me, to go to an abortion clinic, to be strapped down on a table, to have her child violently taken from her, which is often very traumatic, and then to be dumped on the side of the road and the clinic tell her, like, okay, call us if something happens or whatever. Like, that's not healing. None of that sounds healing to me. None of that sounds like what a survivor would want to feel after being sexually assaulted. In fact, to me, abortion does sound very similar to what it feels like to be sexually assaulted.
What would you say to other women who have been sexually assaulted and become pregnant and think that that's their only option, that they have to end the life of that child? Because like you said, people do call it a rape baby often, or the monster's baby. And I like to tell people, that's a survivor's baby, and that is just as much her baby as it is his baby. What would you tell a woman who is in that circumstance?
I mean, first of all, I definitely agree with you that I even more so, like, you're the one growing the baby. You're the one, like, carrying it. You're the one giving birth to it. It's your baby. And I would say that, first and foremost, I understand exactly how you feel, and a lot of women don't like being told that, but, like, look, I know what it feels to feel like an animal trapped in a cage. Like there's no way out of this situation. You are stuck here. It is painful. It is scary. You just want to get out of it. And I know what it feels like to be willing to do something you wouldn't normally be comfortable doing because you just need to escape. You need to stop being hurt like this. But I would also say that the ramifications of losing that baby are going to last a lifetime. And you can report your abuser, you can become safe from your abuser, you can escape what happened without ending the life of your baby because those consequences are forever. You can't undo that. I would also say that when I was pregnant with Rachel, which is my baby's name, I saw a flyer for a crisis pregnancy center, and it really helped me realize there were people who wanted to help me, like really desperately. And I would say that, you know, if you just reach out and ask for help, there are so many people, especially within the pro-life community, but in general, people do want to help you in this situation, and you have to reach out and ask for it. But I would say that you always have a choice. Abortion is not your only option. Do not let anybody tell you that. Not your boyfriend, not your mom, not your abuser, not anybody in the situation, because ultimately it's your choice. You can keep that baby. You can do it.
Yeah, well, a lot of times that's a problem. A lot of people think it is their only choice.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they make that choice or feel that they have to make that choice because they're pressured by maybe somebody saying that this is a rape baby, or how could you, you know, you're going to see your face or the abuser's face in that baby. How could you raise that? Or, you know, it's finances or housing or, you know, food on the table, daycare, all of that. I don't know of any situation where I've ever heard of a woman saying, you know, I just want to have an abortion for fun. Usually there's a bigger circumstance, and in this case, yours is a very big circumstance. And I'm so grateful that you're here to share this story and to be able to tell people who have experienced this, like, hey, it's not your only choice, and I'm here, and I survived this, and you can too, and we're here to love you and support you. And I just am so impressed by you and you sharing this story so boldly at such a young age. I'm an old lady, but you have a fierceness, and your testimony is beautiful.